Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Activity 2.1 building blocks and creating solid shapes in GeoGebra. Our main focus today is learning how to take two-dimensional shapes and extruding them to make a three-dimensional solid shape. We're going to need to go ahead and take a look at our first part that we are going to be creating. As you will notice, our first part consists of 5 blocks. We are going to be creating each block separately in GeoGebra in order to make our solid shape. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do in GeoGebra in order to make our shape. The first thing we're going to need to do is to set up our windows. At this current time, we have 2 windows that are already open. The window on the left-hand side is your algebra window, and the window on the right is your graphics window. We're going to remove the algebra window and replace that with a 3D graphics window. In order to do that, we're going to go and select the 3 horizontal lines at the top of your screen. From there, we'll go ahead and scroll down until we see the word View. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and uncheck the algebra window. We will then scroll down and find 3D graphics. Here you'll notice that the 3D graphics window has now replaced your algebra window. Once you have your window set up, go ahead and collapse your toolbar. Now to start making our solid shape, the first thing we're going to need to do is make a two-dimensional shape in our graphics window. Once we make that two-dimensional shape, then we can go ahead and make our three-dimensional shape. So let's take a look at what our two-dimensional shape should look like. In this case, we are going to make a 1x1 square. So we're going to be using our coordinates of 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, and 0, 0 again. So in order to make our square, we're going to go up to our tool in order to create our polygon. From here, we can go ahead and select the polygon tool. Once you select your polygon tool, you will then need to plot your coordinates. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, and then we need to go back to 0, 0. That will finish our shape. Once you are done making your square, you will need to go up to the Move tool and select Move. That will put your tool down for you. Now what you'll notice is that you've created a square, but it is also visible over here in our 3D graphics. We will be utilizing this in just a moment in order to make a three-dimensional shape. Now if you would wish to change your color, this would be the time to change the base of that actual square. While you have the Move tool, you will want to select that square so that it is highlighted. From there, we're going to select our toolbar option, select the color palette, select a color of your choosing, and change the opacity to 50%. Now your square has gone from an orangish color to a blue. You can then go ahead and select off of that tool because our two-dimensional shape is now complete. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 3D graphics window. What you will notice is that we have a toolbar at the top of our screen. Once we click into the 3D graphics window, what you will notice is that this toolbar will actually change. We need to make sure we have the appropriate tools in order to create our extrusion. So clicking in our 3D graphics window, you will notice that my toolbar has changed, and now I am able to go ahead and create my three-dimensional shape. In order to do this, I'm going to go ahead and select my polygon tool. From here, we're going to go down and select Extrude to Prism. Once you select your Extrude to Prism tool, you will then want to click on the square two-dimensional shape. From here, it will ask you to enter an altitude. We will be giving it an altitude of 1 to complete our 1x1x1 block. Once you have selected that, now would be the time to change the color of your square. Before clicking off, we'll need to go to our color option, select the color of your choosing, and again change that to 50%. Now once you are done, you will then need to go and select the Move tool again. That will lock your shape into place. Now the next step is just building off of your original block. So we're going to go and add a block off to the right side of our original three-dimensional block. And we can do that by going back up to our polygon, selecting Extrude to Prism, selecting the side of our three-dimensional block, and giving it altitude of 1. From here, it will build another block off of the right-hand side. Select your color, change the opacity to 50, and again place the tool down. Now we have two blocks that have been created. If we look at the shape we are trying to create, we have now created part 1 and part 2 of our original solid shape. We still need to add 3 more blocks off of the back left-hand corner. In order to get to the back left-hand corner, we're going to go ahead and rotate our palette around, and now we can work off of our block. And now we're just going to repeat the steps. Extrude to prism, select the back of the block, give it an altitude of 1, and select OK. Change your color, and put your tool down. Once you have your third block, let's go ahead and add the fourth. Extrude to prism, select the top, altitude of 1, change your color, then change the opacity to 50. Go back and add the move tool. For our last shape, we need to go back up to extrude to prism, select that top, add 1, and again change the color one last time, and change the opacity, put your tool down. If we rotate back to our original view, you will now see that you have your three-dimensional shape. In order to turn this in, what we would need to do is we are going to go up and hide our axis. We can do that by selecting the blank screen. Now the last step, we're going to go up to our text tab, select our text, and from here, we'll go ahead and click on the screen, and we can type our last name in. Now this is an important part so that we know whose work is being turned in. Here you will now notice that my last name is next to my work. What I'll need to do in order to submit this image is I will go up to my 3D lines. I can go ahead and download or export this in order to turn it into my Google Sheet. Select your File tab, Export Image, and then simply right-click and select Copy to Image. Once your image is copied, you'll want to go back into your Google Slides, and on the following slide, you will want to insert that into the white space. Right-click, paste your image, make sure that you double-click, select the black boxes there, or black handles, and basically pull that in to crop your image. You can take your image, and by holding down the Shift key, we can pull that bottom corner out so that we can get a good view of your shape. Now you have created part 1 of your solid shapes. Now that you are familiar with making solid shapes in GeoGebra, let's look at part 2, which consists of 7 blocks. Let's go ahead and navigate to our GeoGebra tab, where we'll need to again set up our windows based on our 3D graphics and graphics window. Select your horizontal lines, select your View tab, uncheck Algebra, and then go ahead and check 3D graphics. Now just as before, we're going to basically create a two-dimensional shape in our graphics window. Once we create that two-dimensional shape, we can then go and build our three-dimensional shape that is listed for part 2. Notice that we have 3 blocks in a vertical manner on each side and 1 in the bottom. Basically, we are trying to make the letter U. So going back to GeoGebra, the first thing we're going to need to do is to select our polygon tool. From here, we're going to go ahead and select our coordinates, just as we did for part 1. Once you select those coordinates, remember, we can then go ahead, select the Move tool, select the shape, select the color palette, and then choose a color of your liking. Make sure you turn the opacity to 50. From here, we can go ahead and select our Move tool, and we're going to go ahead and take that window and slide it over. Here we can now focus on our 3D graphics, where we will need to click in a blank space in order to change our toolbar. From here, we're going to go and select our Polygon tool and find the Extrude to Prism. Once you have the Extrude to Prism, select your two-dimensional shape and give it an altitude of 1. Now once you are done with this, we can go ahead and change the color using the Algebra window if we want to go ahead and do so. You can change the color again by selecting the color palette, selecting the shape, the color, and the opacity, or we can go ahead and do this at the end once all of our shapes are created. So if we go forward creating our shape and not worrying about the color, we'll come back to that at the end so you can see how to do so. Let's go and select our extrude to prism, select the top of the shape and give it an altitude of 1. Select your move tool to put the tool down. Now we're going to need to go ahead and create 5 more blocks in order to complete our shape. So again, without worrying about changing any of the color at this time, let's just go ahead and select that extrude to prism, select the top, altitude of 1, and select. Again, make sure you put that move tool down, select your extrude to prism, and this time we're going to go off of the bottom right hand side of that block, giving an altitude of 1, put the tool down, and again we're going to go ahead and select your extrude to prism. So we're going to need to go ahead and repeat this several times in order to create our shape. Make sure you are selecting the correct face of each block in order to get the shape in the correct position. So now after we go ahead and add our last block, we're going to go ahead and make sure we select that move tool. If we want to go ahead and change this color all at one time, what we'll need to go ahead and do is go back to our View tab and select the Algebra window. From here, what we're going to need to look at is the very top of our screen. We're going to go ahead and make sure we select this little icon here, and then we're going to go ahead and select this little tab where it says Sort By. We're going to sort this by the object type. Once we sort that by the object type, what we're going to actually look for is our prism. If you click on the word prism, we could then go over to our color palette, select the color that we want, and the opacity. When we go back and select the move tool at this time, it'll all be changed to the same color. Now remember, in order to submit your part 2, we'll need to select our Access tool and hide the axis. From here, we will need to go up to our Text tab, select in the bottom right hand corner. It will then give you a text box. Type in your last name, and then go ahead and select OK. Once your name is next to your shape, you can then go up to your horizontal lines, select the file, and select Download as an image. You can also select Export Image, which will allow you to copy it directly from your screen. Right-click, select Copy Image. You'll then need to go back into your Google Slides where you will find your submission document. From here, we can simply paste it in. And then we will need to go ahead and crop our image. Double click on your image till you get the black box, and then you will want to pull in those handles until the box is around your shape. Once it's around your shape, holding the Shift key down, you can grab one of the bottom left hand corners or bottom right hand corners and go ahead and make that shape a little bit larger so it is easy to read. Now you have created part 2 of your solid shape assignment. For our last shape, or part 3 of our solid shape activity, we're going to go ahead and create a block that has 5 total parts. So as you can see, we have a block that is going in multiple directions here. So going back to our GeoGebra, again we will need to set up our windows accordingly. For this, I'm going to go ahead and leave my algebra window open so that I can change the color at the end. I'm going to go up to my 3 horizontal lines, select my View tab, and add my 3D graphics window. Make sure you resize your windows appropriately while working in the correct view. Now we're going to start off with our graphics window. So just as before, we're going to go up to our polygon, select polygon, and we're going to place our coordinates at 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, and then back down to 0, 0. Once you have placed that coordinate, we're going to go ahead and select the Move tool. You can then go ahead and resize that graphics window since we'll no longer need it. Here we'll be working in the 3D graphics window, so we'll select a blank space in that window to change our toolbar. From here, we're going to go ahead and select Extrude to Prism. Select your shape and give it an altitude of 1. Once you select your 1, make sure you put your tool down before moving forward. Here we're going to go ahead and select again Extrude to Prism, select the top, altitude of 1, and select OK. We'll go ahead and repeat this several times in order to complete our shape. So again, for the third block, extrude to prism, we will need to go off the right-hand side of our second block. Giving that an altitude of 1, it will now come out to the right. Again, select Move, place the tool down, select Extrude to Prism, and again select the right side, giving it altitude of 1. Put your tool down, and now we will need to go ahead and rotate our shape to the right. This will allow us to work off of the back of our shape. Again, select Extrude to Prism, select the back, altitude of 1, and select OK. Go ahead and put your tool down. At this time, to get your shape back in the correct position, we can go ahead and select our palette, and we're going to click the little house button. Go down and select the house again, and it will automatically rotate back to the correct position. Go ahead and select your axes, turn them off, and now we're going to need to go ahead and change the color of our shape. In order to do that, we're going to go to our algebra window and scroll up to the top. Select your toolbar and make sure that your tools are set to object type. Once you are set to object type, we're going to need to scroll down until we find the word prism. Select prism, and then from there we can go ahead and change our color. So in this case, let's go ahead and make this green. Again, change the opacity to 50%, and then go ahead and select the Move tool to lock it into place. Remember, before turning it in, select your text tab, select ABC Text, and click off somewhere to the right. Type in your last name, and then go ahead and select OK. Now in order to get your screenshot, we can go and select our tools, go to File, and Export Image. Once we are here, we're going to go ahead and right-click, Copy Image, and then we're going to go ahead and find that submission document. Once we're in that submission document, right-click and paste, and then we'll go ahead and double-click where we can go ahead and crop our image. Bring that down, make sure you have a box around the entire shape, and then again to go ahead and enlarge this, we can hold the Shift key and drag one of those corners out. Once you get your shape, you can go ahead and submit your assignment.